welcome to Where the Midnight Sun Sets, an Alaskan alternative podcast. I'm here today with my guest, Angie Faro. She is like the perfect first-time guest ever. I would say she's a jack of all trades, from modeling to music to film to writing her own film to theater. I mean, you name it. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to be asking her a lot of questions and seeing kind of what's up and coming and where she got her start and what inspires her. So join us today and we will dive right in. So Angie, first, before I ask you any questions, I just wanted to give you a huge thank you for being my very first guest on the show and for being willing to come on and give me some of your time and really just kind of get to know you and your projects. So thank you so much.
I thank you so much for inviting me to be your first guest today. This is so exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited. So while we're getting ready to get into everything, I wanted to let everybody know right off the bat, you can find her on her website at www.angelafaro, ANGELAFARO.com. Go right there right now. Like whatever you're doing, drop what you're doing and go look at it, because it is full of incredible information and amazing photos and just like you name it. It's incredible. And she also has her own YouTube channel. It's Rogue Raven Productions. So if you're on YouTube, hop over, and I'm also going to be throwing these links up kind of, you'll be seeing them at the bottom. So check her out. And that being said, I wanted to talk about your modeling first, because I love modeling. That's just
absolutely
incredible.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I got to ask you, the Pinup magazine.
Yes.
You got to tell me how that came about and kind of give me the story on how you got into that, because it is beautiful and incredible.
Thank you so much. I actually have the magazine right here next to me. So I don't know if I can like put it in front of the camera.
Yes, please hold it up.
So check it out. I'll tell you all about it here. This is the Pinup Plus. There's the cover. And I'll open up to the section where I'm at. I think I got like 4 pages in here. Okay. Under my modeling name, Miss BB Lestrange. We got those pages there. Can you see that okay, Dani?
Wow, yeah, it's amazing.
And then, then here's a couple more over here. We got that one and that one. And so this is a brand new pinup magazine called Pinup Plus Magazine. And so they have like models, all shapes, sizes, all that. You name it, but it was really nice to have an opportunity as a curvier model to get this opportunity to be published in the first issue of the Pinup Plus magazine. And so I got that opportunity because Jerry he's the photographer who I did the shoot with. He was helping to like post like casting calls basically for people looking to do photo shoots to submit to the magazine. And I was like, heck yeah, I'm interested. I wanted to work with Jerry for a long time. Jerry, he's been doing photography for like 40 years. Okay. So he's like, he knows his stuff, and he was awesome to work with. And I was just so happy with the shots. It was my first time doing a pinup shoot. And wow. So actually I never done a pinup shoot, but I've done makeup and hair for pinup shoots like years and years ago. I was doing that a lot. And I was even a part of a group there was a lot of pinups in it. It wasn't just for pinups. We were called Dames for Dreams. And we did that for like, I don't know, something like 10 years. I was one of the original Dames for Dreams. And that was actually from the first pinup shoot that I did makeup and hair for way back in like 2013. So I guess it was like, yeah, it wasn't quite 10 years that we had the Dames. It was several years. And that was a lot of fun. We did events, we did charity stuff. We would go do Christmas caroling, just like lots of fun stuff together. And of course the photo shoots, which I would do makeup. I wasn't courageous enough to get in front of the camera, which is funny because I was acting. I'd act in front of the camera, but I was like, modeling? That's not. I wasn't feeling it. And I wanted to so bad, but I was like, So I just kind of watched from the sidelines for a long time before I actually tried it out myself.
Wow. So how did you get into modeling? Like, what was like the big push when you finally decided to jump in front of the camera?
So I had connected with my friend Darina Rice, Also, her modeling name is Loca Llorona. And so I connected with Darina because I was looking to try to get into like working with some of these modeling groups, like the alternative groups and everything like that. And Darina was in another one. And then Darina decided to organize her first photo shoot, the Mysterious Woman shoot, back in the very beginning of 2020. It was like January 2020. We were, planning it at the end of 2019. And there was just like, I think 5 models at that one. So I felt so honored and blessed that Darina thought of me to be one of just like a handful of models that were invited to do this. And I was like, absolutely new at it. I did get I got some great photos of that shoot. One of the photos I got of that shoot by Edwin Ortega, the photographer. Oh my gosh, it's still one of my favorites. I had my hair like all red at the time, like bright red. And he got this gorgeous photo where I'm like, so the Mysterious Woman that Darina had the idea for was like, looking over a fan or through some lace. So big hats and things like that. And so we got this one where I'm looking over this beautiful lacy fan. And so it's just like my eyes and my bright red hair. And yeah, I just love that photo.
Well, we'll definitely have to share it. I'll make sure that
Yes.
we cut and we put it in right around here so that everyone can see it, because that sounds
Awesome.
incredible and I also want to see it. So
Awesome. I'll make sure. I'll find that if it's not already on the site, it might be on there. I mean, it should be on there. If it's not, it's going to be on there. It's just not yet. Because I'm still working on adding a few other things to the site, but it's pretty well there. Sorry.
That's amazing. Oh, you're fine. We always have technical defects at least once throughout. Right? It will happen.
Right.
So is that Misfit Dolls, the alternative modeling group? Is that the group you were just talking about? Because I read about Misfit Dolls on your website.
Yes. So the Misfit Dolls, we weren't the Misfit Dolls yet. That was Darina's first shoot that she had organized. But basically that was when, like, I think she was kind of probably already thinking about starting the group by that point. So then it was just a few months after that she reached out to me to ask if I was interested in joining the group that she was starting. And I don't think she hadn't even chosen the name yet. There was like a couple different other names that she was like thinking about or whatever. So yeah, so I got to be one of the first to be a part of the Misfit Dolls. And so I've done a lot of shoots with the Misfits. And then last year in October, I did my first shoot with the Rogue Ravens. Now I had actually been wanting to start a group of like a modeling group since before I got into the Misfits even. I had been talking with some other friends of mine in the industry about getting a group going eventually. I just didn't know when it was going to be. So then I had done this shoot. Now that's the Goddesses of Ravenwood shoot. And you probably know which one I'm talking about. I'm wearing like I'm like the evil, or I say the misunderstood queen. She's misunderstood, but she just looks evil. But that shoot, that is a shoot that I have been dreaming of doing, a shoot where I am like this raven goddess queen for so many years, many years, Rogue Raven Productions, yada yada. So yes, I love the ravens, corvids in general, crows, but I wanted to do this shoot, right? And for a long time, I just figured I would do it. It would be like a solo shoot. I was going to get an epic dress, and like it was going to be an epic shoot with all these things. And then I told my friend Amy, and you probably know Amy DiLorenzo.
Oh, I love Amy.
Me too. Yes. I was telling Amy about this. I showed her the dress that was being made for me at the time. And she's like, oh my God, I want to do that shoot with you. I'm like, oh my God, yes, that's a great idea. I would love that. And so then she's like, I was like, you could probably order one of the dresses too if you want to. I mean, you don't have to. And so I connected her with Lindsay, who made my dress. And so Lindsay, then we all worked together to plan up like a dress for Amy that would like coordinate with mine, but not be exactly the same. So she was all in white and I was all in black, and it was just magical.
You
It was
broke the
great.
internet with that. I remember those photos because I was crying inside. I was like, why do I live in Alaska? This is incredible.
Well,
So
just so you
beautiful.
know, Danny, just so you know, I do plan on doing more Goddesses of Ravenwood shoots. It's kind of like an ongoing project for me that I have more plans for later down the road when I, open up some time on my schedule. But I definitely plan to do more photo shoots.
I might have to hop a flight down. Like that would be
Right?
the photo shoot. I also am in love with ravens. In love with them. They're huge in Alaska.
Okay.
Like they're a big deal up here in culture.
Oh,
And I do raven everything. Like my whole
well, yes, you could be one of my Raven sisters.
oh girl. That would be incredible. That would be like a good answer to dreams.
I would love it. I would love it. You just keep me posted when you're going to be in town and then try to plan something when you'll be here. That would be
That would
awesome.
be amazing. Or maybe one day I'll be able to get you up here too. We could do like an Alaskan raven themed photo shoot would be
Oh my goodness. I would,
amazing.
I'm from Alaska. I was born in Alaska.
What?
You know that,
Okay.
right?
No, I didn't know that. All right, we're gonna have to pause and come back to the modeling. Tell me more. Where were you born?
So my dad was in the military. So he lived on the Army base, Fort Richardson, when I was born. So we lived in Fort Rich for a few years anyways, when I was, a baby and up until I was like 3 years old.
Wow, so we're Alaskan sisters, and I didn't even know. Oh my
I
gosh.
know. And my brother lives in Alaska right now. And his wife and my two nieces that are there, and yeah.
Well, come up and visit. I will come steal you for a day, and we can do a huge photo shoot here. That would be amazing. That would be so cool.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. I love the idea of going to Alaska in the summertime when it's light 24 hours a day and doing a midnight shoot with the sunshine out. Ooh, kind of like an ode to your channel name, your podcast.
It will literally be my like podcast background. Like if you come up and do that, that's my podcast background. Like right now.
we will do an epic shoot together. That's it. We'll do an epic shoot together in Alaska during the midnight sun.
Love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. So I gotta ask, do you have like a favorite shoot or a most memorable shoot when you look back on your years of modeling? One that really just like stands out above the rest?
For me, it was the Goddesses of Ravenwood because it was something that I had dreamed of doing for so long. And then once Amy jumped on and wanted to do that, and I was like, yes. Then I started thinking, and I was like, I should do a group shoot with this theme, because I started thinking it ended up becoming, at first it was just the Raven, the Raven Queen thing. And then I started thinking, I did this short film years ago called Outside of Eden. And I played the witch of the woods in Eden. And it was called Edenwood. So Ravenwood, Edenwood. So we have Edenwood, and there's all these creatures. We had like a raven woman and like a deer, a half deer, half human, and we had a fairy and a nymph and a goblin, and so all this stuff, and then like two humans lost in the woods, and and don't forget the magical doorway, which is like an ode to Stephen King. But then the story is also kind of reminiscent of like Narnia, Chronicles of Narnia. You go through the doorway instead of the wardrobe, and now you're in this magical world.
Wow.
So that's the idea for Goddesses of Ravenwood, which, so I have more plans for it. And that all of that, thinking of those things inspired me to do the group shoot. And so I invited models to be different types of characters. My best friend, Selena Eberhard, who's in the Rogue Ravens, she was the owl. You remember the owl goddess?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right? Those were some knockout pictures of Selena too. Like, oh my God. Amazing.
The whole shoot. I remember scrolling and it popped up in my newsfeed, and I just like stopped for a minute. I'm like, I'm gonna have to just stare at these for the next 10 minutes of my life because these are perfect. They're amazing.
I love that so much. Yeah, I mean, I had Ian Ferris and Gwendolyn Prophet doing photos of that shoot, and they both just got the most gorgeous photos.
Ian,
and it was like,
so talented. I worked with him when I was up on Vengeance for a while, and I was in a couple scenes with him. And oh my gosh, like he blew me away. He was so good. And the photos he took of me, I was like, can you just follow me around every day?
Right?
These are amazing.
I know. I've done multiple like awesome shoots that turned out awesome with Ian. Actually, I was published from the first shoot that I did with Ian. Got published. That was an amazing shoot. I had like the whole vintage type look going on, and I got published in Style Cruise magazine. I did not get a copy of that one, unfortunately. I just have like but you can see the photos, the screenshot photos, type photos on my website.
Awesome.
For that one. And awesome. Yeah, they did this whole little thing on me, the entertainer. I was like, oh, I love it. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any like words of advice for people like me who are just kind of starting to get into modeling, aside from like Instagram photos, like really taking it seriously? Do you have any words of advice that you could give people who are kind of just dabbling in it?
Well, the first thing I would say, because this is what I did when I was like getting into all parts of the industry, was joining groups on Facebook, modeling groups, acting groups. So for modeling specifically, yes, there's like the photo shoot groups. Like here in Washington, there is this group called SOS, and it's open shoots, SOS open shoots. And so there's a bunch of group shoots. Photographers will post and they'll do group shoots. I connected with some photographers back in like 2012 when I first started doing makeup artistry. And yeah, and that's kind of how I first connected with the modeling community. And so anyways, so SOS, the group shoots, sorry, I'm like getting all scatterbrained. So I connected with Tammy Jean, for instance, was one photographer. I worked with her multiple times at these group shoots. Got some amazing like photos for my makeup portfolio and whatnot. And just so many amazing photographers are in the groups. And by doing the group shoots, a lot of times there's like, I mean, there could be like 10 photographers at some of these groups. And a lot of times there's at least 3 to 5 photographers. So, and there'll be a lot of models, but you got a chance to like go and shoot with all these different photographers, you know? So you can get a really wide variety of images for your portfolio. So that's the first thing I recommend, is finding in your area a group like that, and shoot. If you can't find one, make one.
Ooh, girl, I love that. That's amazing.
I'm a do-it-yourself type of person. I definitely I believe in that. You know, if you can't find the things that you want to do, then you make the things that you want to do, and then the other people will come to you. And that's kind of how it worked for me. Is I just started doing like with my film stuff. I've connected with a lot of people since I just decided to start like producing.
Wow, what words. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. So then acting, wow. I mean, I got on your website, I did not realize like who I was talking to, and then I took a step back and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get it together when I'm talking to Angie, because this is incredible. Over 50 films, and you said most even more than that, right? That's
yes,
just
even more than that. So on IMDb, I have like 50 or 51 acting credits, and then I have other credits that aren't on acting, because I have films that I did either makeup or produced or directed or wrote or any number of those things where I didn't act, because I didn't always act in every film. So there's a lot. And then there's all the ones that haven't been added to IMDb yet. For instance, I wrote 6 short film scripts 2 months ago. Those are not listed on IMDb yet, but that's 6 short films that are going to be a part of an anthology coming out, like I think on Halloween or in October anyways. And I did star in one film in that anthology that there were 2 writers in it, me and one other writer. So the other writer wrote a script for me and I wrote a script for him. And I really enjoyed doing that film. It was a really fun one to do. But you know, it's all horror films. My vibe.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited for that. That is incredible. Oh my goodness. And you actually won an award. I was reading for MindCon. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So long time ago, when I started getting into like really putting myself out there as an actor, I connected with Blue Forge Films. And I think it was Blue Forge Productions back then. And so Jennifer DeMarco, Brianne DeMarco, Maxwell, and Faith DeMarco, they're a family. And the four of them all are producers and creators, content creators for the company. They also have they have Blue Forge Gaming, Blue Forge Press, and music, Blue Forge music. So anyways, they have all these departments and everything. So I connected with Blue Forge, and that was really awesome connecting with them, or I should say reconnecting with Jennifer, because here's a crazy thing. Okay, Dani, you want to hear one of those wild like fate type stories?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So my son is also an actor, and he ended up working on a film with Blue Forge before I did, and he was living with my parents at the time, and he got a business card from Jennifer at the shoot, and then he came home and he set it on like the end table next to his grandfather's chair that he sits in, and my son, went to bed, and when he got up in the morning, his grandpa was like, "Hey, where'd this business card come from?" And he's like, "Oh, I got that on a film set I was working on last night." And so he's like, "Well, how do you know this person?" And he's like, "Well, she's a producer, writer, yada yada yada." And he like shakes his head, "Couldn't be." He goes, "Does she have a sister named Angela?" And my son's like going, "Yeah, I think she does actually." And he takes my son to the hallway where his and my mom's wedding photo is on the wall. And he points to a little girl in the picture and says, "That's Jennifer DeMarco right there. And this lady right here, who was my best man, that's Jennifer's mom. That was his best friend. She hooked my mom and my stepdad up when I was like 3 years old."
Oh my God.
And they ended up getting, married, obviously. And they were all like dear friends. And Angela and I mean, when we were little girls, I was like 3-4 years old living in Seattle with my mom at the time. And me and Angela were besties back then. We were inseparable. So reconnected through the film industry. And the really funny thing is too, is like back then I would always like see Angela. I would always like admire everything that she was doing and be like, "Man, she seems so cool. I would love to be friends with her." And then I told my son that one night, not long before he worked on the film. And then that happened. I'm like, and we had lost touch long time ago, because back then we didn't have social media and cell phones and all those things. And our parents lost touch because my parents moved back to Alaska, and long distance was expensive, and so we all lost touch back then. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is my friend Angela that I've heard about my whole life long, and that I have like memories of from way back when."
Wow, if that's not fate. Oh my gosh, that is intense.
Right?
Crazy story. Well, I'm so glad you guys found each other again. That's amazing.
Yes. And so it's like, it was just like so cool when then I was on set with Blue Forge not long after that. And me and Jennifer were both just like so excited about it. It was really cool.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's
so we worked
amazing.
together a lot. And Blue Forge, so back to Blue Forge and connecting with them, they used to do these festivals, the Take 8 festivals. And they would do them like yearly, maybe twice a year, back during that time. MindCon was from the third festival, because Outside of Eden was actually from the second Take 8. My son was in the first Take 8. Then I did the second. My son was in mine as well. So I led a team. And then on the third one, I was on a team. And that one is the one that was MindCon. I played this very sassy, so there's like the storyline on that one is a guy goes in, he's looking for a job. So he goes in for a job interview, and I'm like the sassy interviewer. And I'm like, it's so much sass. Like if you watch how we play off of each other, it's so hilarious. And so that is the one where I did an East Coast accent on that one, because I did also used to live on the East Coast. I lived there for years after I moved from Alaska. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, then I went over to I lived in New Jersey for like 4 years.
Wow.
So,
oh man, I'm so excited to watch that. That sounds hysterical.
so I got that accent down. I did that accent a lot at my murder mystery shows as well. So I know you probably saw that on the website too.
That was the next on my list to talk about, because I was like, wait, my little Alaskan brain cannot comprehend that. Like Troy was trying to explain it to me. He's like, no, it's like interactive and like the actors come out. And I was like, I can't, how does that work? Like, how does that? And you apparently did that for quite a long time and did a lot of those for like thousands of people. So
yes, I did. For 9 years, I did over 800 shows. I mean, the shows have, it varies how many people are at a show, but like the public shows, I mean, a lot of times there could be over 100. There were, the biggest shows that we did was like 500 people, I want to say. We had like 500 guests. That was an epic show. I loved performing in front of so many people on stage. It was like, I had so much energy. I'm just like, wow, this is amazing.
So do you like have a preference on which one you actually enjoy more, like theater versus film? Do you kind of like lean one way?
I do a lot more film, and I wouldn't say that it's because I like film better than theater. The thing with theater is that I would love to do more of it, like just traditional theater. But it's a bigger time commitment. And a lot of times it's not necessarily a lot of money or any money. You might, if you're lucky, get a stipend, like a gas stipend, and it's usually not much. So I haven't, really had the opportunity to be able to pursue that as much, because I got to be able to make money to pay the bills.
Pay the bills. Yeah, that's important.
Murder mystery was great because I got paid to do murder mystery. That was my job for years and years and years.
So can you explain the interactive part of that? Because I am not understanding how that works.
Okay. So the way it would work is, so say at a public show, we get to the show before the guests get there, like an hour before the guests, and we get all dressed and we set the place up. We put out we have like stuff that goes on the tables, like information. We get the pens, then we get all the binders and the costume items set up that we're gonna give out to certain audience members. Like at the public shows, there'd be usually a character that we would pass out at least like 10-ish tables. And then after that, each table would get a team binder, like a table team binder. But all the binders have information and clues that help you to solve the game, because it is a game. It's a show, but it is a game. And that is like it's a very important part of the experience. Is people trying to figure out who done it. It's like a big live interactive game of Clue.
Oh my gosh, that like in the library with the news kind of thing.
right, except these ones, instead of being serious and like super fancy, were very comedy. Okay, there's lots of puns. If you want puns, I got you covered, girl.
Yay!
But yeah, it was like puns nonstop. So yes, we get the staging all set up. So then when the guests arrive, then the show captain, which was at public shows, I normally was the show captain. I would check people in and get all the tickets all set up. We would be in character from the moment they come through the door. So they walk in to the world. And we are already interacting with them as they are coming in and giving their tickets and getting checked in. And then they go get their mugshot pictures taken and they're interacting there. The whole thing is interactive. They get taken to their seats and we're interacting with them in character. We do table talks where we explain the game. in character the whole time. Like we are our characters from the time they get there until the time we take our bows at the end. And then after the show, then we be ourselves or whatever. And it's funny how oftentimes people would just be like, wow, I thought that was a real accent, like doing these different accents and everything.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
did you pull from that when you were doing film a lot, like that what you gained doing that theater work? I bet that.
God, absolutely, because it was giving me so much experience, all that time to practice my skills and learn more. You learn, I would learn from all of the other actors. We all learn from each other, things like that. And the shows were both scripted and improvised, so we're all improvisers in the murder mystery troupe. So of course when you're interacting with the audience, of course that's going to be different every time, because they don't have a script, they just have their little information and clues in the binder. And the biggest thing with the murder mystery shows is you want to make the audience members feel like they are the stars. You make them the star of the show, whether they are playing one of the characters or whether it is during, we have times called investigation time, where we go out there and interact like one-on-one or in little groups of people. And it was always fun to like make a little scene out there with the people for them to like be able to get involved, and they'd get to see their own special little scene happen. And
wow, that is so cool. Oh my gosh. I wanted to take a minute and talk about Killcraft, because I saw you're part of Killcraft, and of course I adore the Lutz's family, and Sanaya is such an incredible actress, and so
yes,
I wanted to hear about what you can tell. I know that being on Vengeance, there's things that we can't talk about, but I wanted to hear what you can talk about, like what your part was and what it was like being on set.
Right. I don't know how much I can talk about the movie. I'm trying to think about what they have said and what they have released, other than it's an action thriller. And Sanaya had a really awesome role and like did some seriously amazing work that everyone will be blown away by.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And well, you probably know because they posted, Michael Pare, Eddie and the Cruisers was one of the leads. So that was actually, so the really exciting thing about working with Michael for me, my stepdad, who passed away 5 years ago, he and I, like, we didn't always get along perfectly, but we both loved film and music. And Eddie and the Cruisers was a film that he just really loved. And so he was a fan of Michael and a fan of Eddie and the Cruisers. And I remember when he shared that movie with me, and he was so excited to like show it to me and tell me all the facts that he knew about it and everything. And I was like, man, if he was still here, he would have just been so excited and so proud of me. I know that,
incredible.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. So that was just one of your like aha moments,
Yeah. So like on my birthday, I got to get a picture with Michael. That was really exciting.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I had that experience on Vengeance with a couple of people. I know Tom McLaughlin was one of them. I grew up obsessing over Tom McLaughlin. Like, he was the guy who made Friday the 13th what it is, in my opinion, though he took it in like on this whole different angle. And I remember walking into that, the white tent, the canopy tent, and he was sitting there, and I just stared at him like super awkwardly fangirling. And finally he's like, come talk to me. And I was like, I don't think I can, honestly. Like, I'm just gonna fangirl.
Yeah, that was when I was working with Michael. I was totally like I probably would have fangirled, but I was like, I cannot let myself fangirl. I'm like doing the wardrobe supervising. Yeah. I did have an acting role in it as well, but I was wardrobe supervisor for the whole thing. So like, I'm working with Michael like every day that he's on set and everything, and I'm like, play cool.
Play cool.
I wanted to tell him about my stepdad. I was so awkward. Michael. And then on my birthday, Alexi asked him for me if I could get a picture with him, because I was like, Lexi, I want to get a picture with Michael so bad for my birthday, but I don't want to ask him, and I know some other people have gotten pictures with him, and so she like asked for me, and he was like, you got to see the picture. He's got the biggest smile. He's like, it's your birthday, happy birthday. I was just like, I'm like beaming. I have no makeup on that day. I'm just like, whatever.
You're like, I don't even care.
Sleep for the whole time, whatever. It's cool. This is great. But yeah, so it was really cool. There was so much wardrobe on Killcraft. So being the wardrobe supervisor, whew, that was a job on that one. I've done wardrobe on like a lot of other projects and everything. And that was
wow.
The continuity.
Amy's in that one as well, right? I think I saw that Amy's in
it. Yes.
I was blown away by how she was actually the first actor that I met. So, I won the golden ticket when I got into Vengeance. It was by a freak chance that I was able to be part of that film. And
meant to be.
I'm holding on to that. But I was talking to Kim Terrison, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna have you start walking actors up. And Amy came out and I was like, I had to walk Amy up, and I was like shaking the entire time because I was like, I'm out of my comfort zone. Like I don't know if I could do this. And she was so talented and beautiful and sweet, and it just like it just made me like come down 9 notches, and I was really able to enjoy that whole day. And I was like, you have no idea how you're like what you beam and what you put out can just affect everybody around you and make or break the day. So I mean, I love her to pieces for that.
Me too. I love Amy so very much. She is just one of my very favorite people to work with. I'm like, I always want to work with Amy. Of course, she's in the Rogue Ravens.
That is amazing. I'm so bummed that I live so far away. Like,
come move here, Dani.
I know it might work. You might get me.
Right? No, I hope so. Join us on all the things.
So your other I have so many questions about your film. Like, what was your very first film, and what was your favorite role? Kind of those two are like big questions on my mind.
Okay, so you want to know my first film or my first acting role?
Oh, girl, both. I want to hear both.
Okay, so my first film was in 2006, and it was a student film called Living the Weekend, and I played a co-worker of the main character. It was just a short film, by the way, just like a little tiny short film. There wasn't really much dialogue at all in it. It was an interesting, and I had a lot of fun on it. I really liked how it turned out. I don't know what happened to my copy of it. But yeah, I had so much fun on it. I always wanted to work on film. And so that was my first film experience. Not my first time being filmed though, because I was on American Idol the year prior.
I'm sorry, you were on American Idol?
I auditioned for American Idol, and I was on for like a split second. Look at my Facebook page. You'll see I just reposted the link recently. There's a picture of me. I'm dressed like Trinity in the Matrix, okay? Because I'm like the gothy girl, Dani.
Yes.
And that was like, so I wore that outfit. I stood out from the crowd, but basically I was a little too flashy for Idol back then. Like nowadays,
you would have won. Nowadays you would have won.
Away with that. Back then they're like, what are you wearing?
Oh my gosh. I'm watching that like immediately. We're gonna link that. We're gonna link it. I gotta show that photo.
I was in that episode 3 times. So this is the season that Taylor Hicks won. I don't know if you watched a lot of Idol and if you remember who Taylor was.
Oh yeah, every season.
Okay, so Taylor was the year Taylor won, and I auditioned in Vegas along with Taylor, and we were sitting outside of the room where Simon, Paula, and Randy were waiting for our turns, and he was up like right after me, and I had a bottle of water, and the crew, they took my water away. They said I couldn't drink that brand. It had to be like the brand that they had. So they replaced it with one that was the brand that they, their sponsor, but it was the last one. So then Taylor asked if he could get one. Like, we're sorry, that was the last one. So I only drank part of the bottle. And when I was getting ready to go in the room, Taylor was like, excuse me, do you think I could maybe, get a drink of your water? And I was like, you can just have the rest of it.
Oh
So
my
I gave it to Taylor. And I went in and I did my audition. I did not make it to Hollywood. They, were giving me a hard time about my outfit, which they should have looked past the outfit, but whatever.
It's okay, Simon.
It's all good though. It's all good. It was a fun experience. And, I just took the experience with me.
Wow, that is amazing. I am so excited to watch that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy because so I actually went to Denver first and auditioned in Denver too, and I wore like normal clothes. And anyways, it's like 10,000, I don't know, 10,000 people at a stadium or at a convention center that are all auditioning for a very small number of spots. So even just getting on the show, even if it's just for them to be like, what are you wearing? Sort of a thing. They didn't show that part of me on the thing. They showed me singing I Will Survive, which was the song that was chosen for everyone in Las Vegas to sing. And I was singing like 2 lines of that song. And then they showed me when I was waiting in line and I was dancing and I was getting other people to dance and I was rapping Eminem. But you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me rapping because at that point they're just showing us passing me by in the crowd, right? And I'm like swaying like this. It was so funny. And then they showed me sitting next to Taylor outside the room.
Wow, that is so cool though. Like, dang girl, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. And the fact that you had the guts to go do it, like Simon's too mean for me. I'm too sensitive.
Simon was not mean. I thought I was prepared for Simon to be mean. He wasn't mean. He just said that because of my outfit, he didn't take me seriously. Randy said, it must be a little too close to Halloween. It was October.
You had a golden opportunity. Did you say it's a no for me, dog? Like you had a golden opportunity.
It's a no for me, dog. Right. And then, okay, so I'm wearing that vinyl head to toe. What Paula said to me. So at the time I didn't understand what she meant by it. And I thought at the time that she was like dissing me. So I was really devastated about that one because I was like a fan of Paula's from the time I was like 11 years old. Okay. I actually won a talent contest singing one of Paula Abdul's songs a cappella on a cruise ship when I was like 11 years old, 12 years old. So anyways, it was like, oh my God, Paula. And then she says to me, how much baby powder did you have to wear to put that outfit on? So I thought it was a diss, but I realized later down the road when I got more into wearing vinyl and people who wear vinyl, that not all vinyl has backing like my vinyl outfit had. So it had nice backing, so it didn't stick to your skin. But vinyl that is vinyl on both sides, it like sticks to your skin. So you got to put on baby powder to like not get stuck.
You're like, oh, thank God I can continue on with life.
Right. So Paula said that, and I'm like, none, actually. I'm thinking, what is that supposed to mean?
You're just cycling.
Right. I know. I was just like, and then I ended up in some magazines in the fashion police section. I did. I was like, the magazines where you have the fashion police and they're like talking about celebrities. It was these same people that are talking about the celebrities. And what did they say about me? In the one I remember, Life and Style magazine, they said, though there was a few things. One of them was, it looked like I was wearing a giant trash bag. I'm like, okay. And the other one was, the other part of that was, she's a really beautiful girl. Too bad she wore a trash bag. And then, yes, I'm like, I like that outfit. How dare you? That's my Trinity outfit. Don't diss on that. I used to wear it when I was a karaoke host and DJ. And my friends who came into my shows, they loved it when I wore that outfit.
When I was 18, I went to my senior year in fishnets every day. Like I always wore fishnets. Nice. I didn't care. I love making people feel uncomfortable. Like if I can walk into a room and make you like a little uncomfortable, I'm going to do it. Like I cling to what Sid Haig said in an interview one time. He was like, all publicity is good publicity. Like bad publicity is good publicity. And I'm like, Yeah, if I can make you talk about me, I did my job. Like, if you think I'm wearing a trash bag, that's on you, bro. Like,
right.
this is me.
Yeah, no, I didn't take any of that to heart by any means. I was just like, dude, I'm in the fashion police.
Yeah.
This is so cool. I'm like, I don't care if they're saying so, like whatever. But they did. Hey, they said I was pretty.
Right? Well, girl, you are gorgeous. I was actually gonna ask you, like, do you cosplay ever? Because
you know, other than my theme shoots.
dude, you could play Lady Dimitri. I don't know if you've like seen the Resident Evil like 8 the Village memes or pictures.
I've seen pictures. I have not seen that. That's a newer Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, it came out, I want to say last winter or the winter before.
Yeah, so I haven't seen that one yet. I've watched all the other like Resident Evils from the past. So I love those movies. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of movies anymore. Most of the movies I watch these days or shows are like indie films of people that I know.
So there's a girl in the last game that they came out with, the video game called Lady Dimitri.
Yep.
And she is this like beautiful, gorgeous, like she's got these gorgeous, I'm just gonna say front, you know what I'm saying? Like gorgeous woman. And every time I see you, that's all I can think about is Lady Dimitri. And I'm like, girl, you need to cosplay as Lady Dimitri. It would break the internet. People would not be the same. So when we get done, I'll have to send you some photos. But I'm just saying, if you're ever into cosplaying, like you need to do a photo shoot with her. And like she's not actually she might be in the new movie. I don't know. I haven't seen the newest one yet. I haven't been involved in it in those movies in a while. But in the game, like it literally, there was like nasty memes about her because she was so hot that like dudes who were sitting at home playing the game were like, she's amazing. There's like thirsty tweets on Lady Dimitri. It's hysterical.
You know, that's so funny when you're talking about that thing and how they're talking about her. It made me think of I saw this interview with Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss for the new Matrix movie. I'm a big Matrix fan. See, I'm going to talk about Matrix again.
I love Matrix.
So yeah, right, me too. So Keanu, he was doing this interview and they were talking about this video game. What was the video game? I can't remember the name of the video game, but anyways, it's this game where there's a mod where people want to like be able to like do things with they kept requesting Keanu to be the character and Keanu's reaction to it cracked me up because he goes, yes. He's like, oh, that's awesome. He's it's so nice.
Like, sign me up. Where do I sign up?
Carrie-Anne Moss was not, so she's like, I'm not so thrilled. I would not be so thrilled with that. No, that's just weird.
I saw like one of those like thirsty tweets or whatever that's on Jimmy Kimmel, and they had the girl who like did the gaming, I forget what it's called, but she did like the acting for the game on there, and she was reading them, and I was crying laughing. I was like, we're not the only ones who thought a video game character was hot. Like there's a whole lot of people who think that.
Well, you know, they make video game characters really realistic nowadays.
Right, yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, and I know that like there's people that go and they get filmed to be turned into like some kind of like, I don't know, game animation or something like that, but it's taken by filming people.
Right, yeah, it's like they like put like those little like white balls all over them and like get the motion capture.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten to do it, but that'd be pretty cool.
You should.
Be super cool.
That needs to be next on your list. That would be amazing.
This area, there's supposed to be a lot of like game stuff. You know, Seattle, you know, the tech industry here and everything. Lots of gaming. I don't know how to really connect with that world. I'd totally do it though. I'd totally do it. I've done voiceover stuff as well, so you know.
Oh, well, tell me about that. What kind of stuff have you done for voiceover?
I have done voiceover for a lot, again, like Blue Forge Films, because they have all the departments. They'll do call outs for like looking for voice actors and stuff like that. So I basically just record at home. I got my microphone set up at home. And for like, I do voices.
Wow.
I did actually for what was going to be a show. I don't know what ever happened with it. And they were doing like, like a mock-up for trying to get money to do like a pilot episode or something. And it was animated, you know, an animated series. And I got to use my French accent. And I played a French, like a French elf or something. It was like, oh gosh, it was so funny. So I got to do this funny voice.
How many accents can you do?
I don't really know. I just kind of like pick up on accent sometimes and just kind of like I was always a weird, you know, kid like that. I would walk around just doing accents. And if I hear an accent, I would like try to learn it or whatever. I can't say that I do them all perfectly because I don't get practice at a lot of them. But New York, well, that's easy because I actually did have a New York accent. I lived on the East Coast. Well, New Jersey accent, not New York. But I know the Jersey and the New York accents. Actually, years after I moved away from Jersey, I went to Hawaii on a vacation, and I went to this the luau, and I was going to get photos at like the photo booth from the luau, and the guy working was like, "Oh, are you from the East Coast?" And I'm like, "That's weird. I was a long time ago, but I haven't been there for years." He's like, "Oh, I can hear your accent." And I'm like, "Accent? Like, I don't have an East Coast accent anymore, except sometimes I do, and sometimes it comes out."
It's so true. My husband is from upstate New York. He was from up by Rochester and Buffalo area, so technically closer to Pennsylvania. But right. I swear his family talks out of the corner of their mouth. If you ask them if they have an accent, they will, but they do. Like I hear it. Like they'll say things like they can't say elementary school, like they'll say elementary school. They'll like draw out their E's, and I crack up every time I try to have a conversation. And y'all get louder and louder and louder when you get into a group of each other. That is the one thing I've noticed.
Well, I'm just loud in general, so I mean, I don't know. That could come from that.
I think it's an East Coast thing. Is when I get with my husband and we get anywhere near his family, I'll just listen to the volume. They'll like start off on a normal like note, and then pretty soon we're like a Motorhead concert in the living room.
Yeah. Well, one thing about having a loud voice that comes in handy is, you know, acting on stage. You want your voice to carry. So I never had any problem with that. Doing the murder mystery shows, sometimes we'd have a huge crowd and we wouldn't have like microphones if they didn't like ask us to bring sound, or they didn't have sound where they were at, and we didn't have to bring it. And so we'd just have to project our voices. Never a problem for me.
It's like, I got this. I'm from New Jersey. I got this. Hold on. That's amazing. So, and you have another movie coming out, The Detective. I was kind of reading about.
Oh yeah. So The Detective. Yes, The Detective is. I filmed for the trailer for The Detective, and actually I have one more day of filming for the trailer coming up. And so then Eric, who directed it, Eric Viz, is going to put it out there. And I think that he is thinking about, you know, doing some kind of longer project possibly, but I don't know exactly. I don't know if it'll be a short or if it'll wind up being a feature. Who knows? You never can tell with these things, but that's what I'm looking forward to. The character. Oh man, it was so fun playing this character. I'm excited to be on set again for it. My character's name is Lila. And I like that name. I like that name. She is a femme fatale. So that was really exciting to be cast as the femme fatale. And she is like, she's brutal.
Ooh, I want to see that. That's like my favorite kind of thing. Like I love strong female characters. Like that's my heart. I don't know. Women rule. Yep, like
I love absolutely. And so yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till the trailer's finished, until he puts it out there, because it was a really great opportunity to be able to play a role like that.
I'm gonna be watching your page for the link when you share it. I'm super excited. So I have to ask, so I'm an author too. I've done a couple, I've not nearly as extensively as you, like holy cow. I was going through yours and I was like, man, I was over here bragging about my 2 shorts that I had published, and you're just like boom, boom, boom. I was like, man, it's amazing.
I haven't got that many book things published. I've written more scripts than anything, but I've written short stories for anthologies, and then I wrote the one novelization for the
Right. So
episode.
Ghost Sniffers Incorporated, and it is
Yes.
available on Amazon. So I want to
Yes.
make sure that everybody knows that. I'm going to be linking the actual link to it on Amazon in the video, and I want to share a couple pictures of the front cover. But you got to tell me about the book. Like, what's it about?
Yeah.
All the details. I'm super
So
excited.
it's a family friendly web series was what Ghost Sniffers started as, and that's done by Blue Forge. That the main characters in that were played by Faith and Maxwell when they were like just starting out acting. And when Jennifer Jennifer Brand, they just started doing filmmaking stuff when the kids were little, because Faith wanted to do this project, Ghost Sniffers. And so anyways, Faith is the main character, Forge, and she's like a detective type of a character and everything, but she's a detective for like supernatural type stuff.
Ooh, you have
So
my
a kid,
attention. That is so cool.
detective for supernatural stuff, and she has like there's like special abilities that some people have, and lots of fun characters, and just it's really great. It's really inclusive like series. Blue Forge a lot of times works with like a lot of brand new actors and helps people get into the business, like who have don't otherwise know how to get into it. They have workshops where they teach kids. They have it's called Create for You, where they teach the youth. I mean, it's really awesome. And so Ghost Sniffers was their first like thing they did. And so they have, I don't know how many, like 20 some episodes, I want to say, of Ghost Sniffers. And I think that at some point they're talking about a reboot. So right now they're working on getting all the novelizations done for one book to go with each episode. So I wrote book, like, I don't know, number 9, I think. Wild Things Waking. That was the one that I did. It was really fun doing the novelization, because what that was I watched the episode tediously, taking the most tedious notes you could ever think of, so that everything they said, everything they did went into the book, and then expanded on it, on the characters who aren't in all the other episodes of the show, the characters who are only in that episode. So they're like the featured characters, and I wrote a story about them that includes the main characters of the story as well.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah. And mine ended up being, they gave me that episode because they know I love horror, and that one was a little more like scary type of an episode, as far as like the Ghost Sniffers project would go, the series goes. And so it ended up being like, horror fantasy. It was funny. So that was like my first time. I've thought about writing books for a long time. And I've written short stories and poetry and all these things since I was like young. But that was my first time writing something that long and everything like that. And it was really fun doing the novelization, and getting to expand on those characters. It really helped me to kind of like learn and grow how to like build those types of characters from ones that were already there, if that makes sense, by making the outline and going from there. And it kind of gave me the building blocks to be able to write books in the future, which I have one planned that's going to be like a Stephen King inspired type of thing. So that's like when I make room on my schedule. But I already have the outline. I've got like a lot of stuff for it. So that's something that'll happen at some point. But when I wrote Ghost Sniffers, I didn't read it. Like, I turned it in once I was done with it, done writing and editing it. I sent it in to Blue Forge, and I didn't see it again until the book was released, and I got my copy of the book, and I read it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I thought they didn't have people editing the books. I thought I did the editing. I'm like, I didn't write this. I'm like, this is really good. I was really enjoying it. I was like, so then I went back and I looked at what it had not been changed at all. And I was just like, I didn't even remember writing all the things I wrote, because I was like, it was such a whirlwind writing it for me.
Wow, that is amazing. And I have to say, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I think everybody probably has to be in this industry. But for me, like I actually met my husband in high school because he quoted Rose Madder in front of me, and Rose Madder is my favorite book of all time to this
Oh
day.
wow.
My all-time favorite book. And he
Oh,
quoted a line from it, and I like turned around. We were in high school, and I looked at him, and I was like, "I'm gonna marry you one day."
you're like, he's the one.
He's the one. And 13 years later, like
Wow.
it was all Rose Madder that did it. So
My
I am
goodness.
beyond excited just to like read
You're
that.
like,
I mean, we're huge book fanatics. So
thank you, Stephen King, right? I
thank you,
love
Stephen King.
uh,
What's
I
your favorite?
absolutely
What's your favorite out of
my
all of them? If you had to
favorite
pick.
is yes, my very favorite of Stephen King's is the Dark Tower. I mean, it's the Dark Tower series. It's not
Oh
just
yeah.
one. It's the whole series. Okay, so like,
Right.
I know a lot of people who are Stephen King fans who haven't read it, and I'm like, man, you are missing out. You got to read that one. You like read the whole series. It's like it's epic. It's epic. I mean, the doorway in My Goddesses of Ravenwood. That's like the doorway in the Dark Tower series.
I saw that. I saw the photos, and it was the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh man,
Yep.
that is Stephen King vibe. Like,
Thank you. I'm so glad you caught it.
oh
That's so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I
My,
was blown away by. Oh my gosh, you are the talent that you have. Holy cow! From makeup to modeling to script writing to acting to music, like writing. Whoa, like that is. I am excited, like to see where your career takes you, because this is just so much talent. Like usually and I'm not just saying this, like I've interviewed quite a lot of people. They're really good in like one particular area. To meet somebody who's literally can like just that multifaceted, like you were saying, like I just did it. Like if there wasn't a way for me to do it, I just did it. Like
right.
more women like you. That is amazing and inspiring, and I'm really excited for everyone to get to hear this interview, because I think it's really going to touch a lot of people and just be that inspiration that so many of us like get down in the dumps, or like life just kind of beats you down and you kind of want to give up, and hearing that, no, just go for it, like do it, make it, create it, go.
Yes, and
like it couldn't be a more perfect first interview. I am so incredibly grateful.
thank you. I want to say one thing too. If we're going to be ending, if I seem a little loopy at all throughout this thing, I was up all night editing that project that I filmed this weekend because I'm submitting it to a festival that's got like a very soon deadline. So I had to get it rough cut to send to my editor who's doing the rest of the work on it. And I'm like, woo! And I didn't want to have to reschedule the interview. So I'm like, all right, I got this. It's not my first time pulling an all-nighter. But I got to tell you, I ain't as young as I once was. And
I feel it all the time. I wake up and I'm like, I slept wrong? Why do I feel like I fell out of a third-story window? Like I am clearly not 16 anymore. I don't know what happened, but life is not kind of
right. It's not the way it once was. So I'm just like, if I know I've got lost off track a few times. I'm like, okay, there's my scatterbrain. That's that's the lack of sleep talking.
That is like, in my opinion, from my experience of interviewing, that is indicative of a good interview, because I want you to be able to take it and go, oh, this reminds me of this, and kind of go with it, because there's been a lot of times where I've interviewed people who are like, you ask them a question, they're like, oh yeah, this movie. So what was your most memorable moment? This one. Okay. So the fact that you can take it and go, that's what we're like, I'm looking for, that energy, because that's what really captures people and motivates people. So this has been perfect. And I had to ask you too, I saw that you were with Tony Sonic and Nate MC, that you were actually a singer-songwriter, and that you were in like an inspiration, is what I was reading, for one of their albums. So I had to hear about your music too.
Not an inspiration for them. Basically, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the the website, but so when I joined the band, they already had the band, right?
Right.
And so I came in. They had other singers sing with their band, the Silverback, before. So they brought me in when we were making the Pathogen album. So we recorded this album. It was like, it was a whirlwind too. It was like so fast and everything like that. And yeah, I felt really inspired doing that one. I loved the songs, the lyrics that I wrote were like, it was like when I was younger, I wrote a lot of lyrics, and they were all very like, they were not horrible songs, but the lyrics, like, they were just very lovey, like they were all love songs or sad broken heart songs. And so I felt like I had just grown up a lot more, I think, by the time I was writing lyrics for Pathogen, with the Silverback. And so I got some really cool ones. I did like there was one that's like a vampire song.
Oh, I love that.
A vampire song. So that one's Initiation. If you go to the link and listen to Initiation. Changes is another really fun one. I really like Changes. Those are a couple. If you go check out the link for the music, check those ones out.
I grew up having the Queen of the Damned soundtrack on repeat, so I'm totally down to check them out.
Nice. I hope you like my vampire song. That's all.
Yes. Well,
yes.
Coming up on the ending, I just wanted to kind of reiterate, so we can find you on your website at angelafaro.com. And then we can also find you on YouTube at Rogue Raven Productions. Yes. And then also your books are on Amazon. Are there any other websites or links that you can think of that you'd like to let everybody kind of know about?
I mean, just like I have a bunch of Facebook pages, because I have like Facebook pages for my modeling group, the Rogue Ravens. I have a Facebook page for my Rogue Raven Productions. I got my Angela Faro page. Those are like probably like the main ones to check out at this point on me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I kind of, whenever I do a film, I'll usually do like a film one, but that's like film specific or whatever. So, check out those main ones and figure out what you want to see of my other work, and check it out that way. And then I have other projects that are like in post-production, so that it will be released on Amazon when they're completed and everything like that. So I will have a lot more things coming out as I'm able to work it all out to get them done. I'm like wearing a lot of hats on a lot of things. So
yeah, girl, like I said, you are multifaceted. I think like makeup and music and writing scripts and acting and modeling, and then creating your own modeling group. I'm like, dang, do you sleep even? Like, do you?
Well, I did not last night. I honestly, this whole weekend, I didn't sleep much because I was like filming 2 days, doing a photo shoot another day. It was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of that to hang out with me and talk. And I'm really excited to see where you go. And I'm really grateful that I know you and that I get to follow you. So thank you again so much.
This was so exciting to do this interview with you, Dani. I've been really wanting to get a chance to like talk with you and everything. And you better keep me posted, like when you come to visit Washington or anything like that, because we got to do a shoot together.
Yes. I'm there.
All right. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care.